Welcome back to Let's Talk Race to Marlon. I'm your host, Harrison Paul. Today we are going to discuss, of course, the five brethren who scored the penalties for the UK to take them through to the semi-final. I am immensely proud that this is a good way for us to get our look back for the last Euros 3 years ago. So finally, Saka got to redeem himself when he put his penalty away and also actually saved England from even being knocked out with a late goal. So it was huge. Again, Bellingham had a huge part to play in the game. Yet again, being a great midfielder everywhere he needed to be. May have not had any, goal score, but that does not mean he wasn't one of the main men on the pitch. I certainly believe that. And then, of course, we have Alexander Trent, who put away the final penalty. Again, a great right foot that boy has. I thought he was left foot, but, he's one of them guys who just gifted with his, what do I say? His pinging the ball, his placement ability. He can put the ball where he wants it. And then, of course, Ivan Toney, the no-look mastermind. Everyone has been going crazy about it. And, of course, we cannot leave out Cole Palmer. I think that was the funniest one for me because, of course, Cole does, identify strongly with his black side, his father being black and his father being mixed and his grandfather being black also. So there's a few topics I want to talk about here, guys. We can go about quickly, the fact that, someone said, some of them boys there are mixed race. Is that black? Since when is black mixed? And I said to some dude, I was like, depends what the event is. You know what I mean? If it's five black mixed race boys caught doing crime, they're gonna say five black boys. The perception, I never even said what they're gonna say. The perception is five. Oh, there go black boys doing crime again. Let me restate that. If it's two black boys and two mixed race boys with braids, let's say they had braids. Let's say they had those single braids. Those are five black boys, regardless. You know what I mean? Those are, you know what I mean? So that's the way life goes, if they're not, you know what I mean? If they're doing something good, like, scoring penalty shootout and getting England through to their, I think it's the first time they ever got through, one of the first times in a long time they didn't get knocked out in penalties. It's a good thing, right? So then all of a sudden people become non-colorblind. So yeah, this is the way things happen. But listen, guys, we're gonna get into some juicy stuff here, which is the infamous post by the Rio Ferdinand. Now, this is the type of, I feel like we're so starved of this in the UK, in Europe in general. We are starved of black voices who use their voice boldly on a platform where quote unquote race is not being asked of, to say, I'm going to interject day-to-day issues that we go through. I'm going to interject the elephant in the room. I'm going to try and rectify things using the mainstays that we go, that we go through. And I said in my when I posted about it initially that, and I put up on the screen for you guys to see it, these goals, you can see how we celebrate on how, black people as a unit, we celebrate on, X, Twitter. We celebrate with this manner of like, it's like almost like a vindication. It's like we know what it feels like to, do really well. And as they say, do half as much and do twice as much and get half as much. Do twice as much to get half as much. We know what that is as a black person. We know you're far more brilliant than some of the white workmates or colleagues, but it takes for you to do that extra to get that same level of respect or that same level of reverence. And this is the frustration that comes with being a black person. We've had mothers who've slaved for the system for years, and watched people, under bosses undermine them because it's an African. We expect an African to be here and just lick the floors, not to really respect and honor their capacity. So when we see these boys on the main stage, carry England in such a way where it's undeniable, it's almost like an exhale for us as a community. Like, look, it's there for everyone to see. It's not the same when it's a boss and your boss knew how much clients you brought in this month, or your boss knew, you know what I mean, the numbers really behind closed doors of what you actually contributed to the company, but they don't get to announce that, and you standing there like, I just know, and then you seeing, O'Neill or Smith being called into the office, and now her desk or his desk is moving to a higher department. You thinking, surely I saw, you know what I mean? And one of the things my mom always reminds me of is that, she had time, she works in finance. She also had a time where she just quickly worked in care, and, you had your white workmates who took 10 cigarette breaks a day, and you didn't have that luxury to take 10 cigarettes a day and go out for a quote unquote 5-minute breaks that turn into 15 to 20 minutes. You didn't have that because you didn't have as much lives as them. The famous idea that also that if Lucy Leppy was a black woman, ain't no way she would have made over the first 5 hurdles. Ain't no way she would have been given as much benefit of the doubt as she was given. And that's the life that we live. So when we see Saka and Tony and these guys on the big stage, do this, it's like, we're worth something after, now you have to swallow that pill, give me my flowers, tell me I'm, and we get to exhale like that, and I was just laughing at all the memes, and as much as I was laughing, I was hurting, because as much as I go hard on European Africans for not being strong enough, for not being strong-willed or loud-mouthed enough, I do understand that there's a very manipulative type of racism that we happen here. It's like I explained quite recently, it's like a ghost. You're trying to catch a ghost. You're trying to catch this underhanded, professional, covert racism where you can't say, there it is. You can't say, because people look at you like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. I know women, you all the women in this chat, who joined this video, you'll know what it feels like to be with a guy who looks at you like you've lost your mind, when he knows damn well he's dishonest and he's trifling, but he actually manages to make you look like, why would you desire to look through my phone? Why would you do that? And you look paranoid. You look crazy. You look like you're, you're just a difficult woman who can't seem to just chill, and really, you're being gaslighted. That's your reality. So you women will definitely, and men too, let's not put that out of the, out of reach. Men as well definitely go through that, but you're made feel like you're crazy as someone who's a professional gaslighter. So as hard as I do go on us Africans in Europe, I do understand we go through a very, very difficult type of racism that we find hard, and that happens. That happens. And why I liked what Rio did in this moment, I'm gonna put the post up on the screen. He said, "Where are the racists now? Probably celebrating this Rio." Rio, 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 Rio. Micah, I love you, but this is not a Micah. This is a Micah Richards type thing. Micah, I love you. I'm sorry, my brother. I love you, but this ain't a Micah Richards moment. I'm sorry. This a brave moment. This ain't a moment where you laughing at everyone's jokes, making everyone's comfortable. This is when you come in and you putting the elephant in the room and you slapping it right in the middle of the table and you're saying, "What about this? Let's talk about this. Who wants to talk about this?" It's not something I want to say this to you, Michael, because I want to catch you up on it, and I do feel like you should be using it. And I just feel like, we come on, brothers and sisters. We can tell. We know the brothers and sisters who shy away. We know the brothers and sisters who are in the house with Master and wouldn't want to ruff any feathers in that area. And I respect Rio, because I do feel like he's a you know what I mean. He's a half black man. We should give him that credit, meaning he has the opportunity to opt out. He has the opportunity to go with his mom or his dad or one side of it, but he's a, but at the same time that might also kind of, that also works in his favor too, where he's partly in the house. He was born of the house, right? So there is that sense of like belonging that he can ruffle feathers that maybe a dark-skinned brother like Micah doesn't have. But in 2024, we should be expecting this standard from everybody. And I really did appreciate Rio using that moment to say, boom, here. And what I love about this, because I initially thought about all the people he has to see in the office the next morning. Like about this post that went viral on every platform, viral on Twitter, went viral on Facebook, it went viral because it was just a conversation. And I'm going to get into what the comments were saying, but I initially thought of like, oh, they're going to, good morning, Rio. Because I was thinking about how everyone kept saying, Saka, whatever. It was lovely for him to get his penalty after what had happened to him, and everyone was just kind of saying like it was just some like regular like disappointment or heartbreak or just what happened to him. Those things that happen. It happens sometimes. You know how it happens to all of us, and sometimes we all get called monkeys sometimes, and sometimes we all sometimes get our passports and belonging to being British get revoked at a miss of a penalty. It happens to all of us. There was that elephant in the room, and I love how he kind of said, here we are, here's the elephant. Remember how we revoked him? Remember how he was no longer British? Remember how he was less of a Brit than Foden was? Remember how, Kane missed his penalty in the World Cup, which didn't take him through, but didn't get the same temperature as Saka did, wasn't put in the monkey box like Saka was, and like the boys was, and again mixed race, the mixed boys too. So there goes that theory. You know what I mean? But listen, my initial upset was this. I thought people will be in the comments. I know. Here I am giving them the benefit of the doubt again. And I never want to focus our minds, people, my brothers and sisters. I never want us to focus on our minds on the people who put monkeys in the chat, the bot. I hate that, because majority people who are doing racism in a dangerous manner, who are in day-to-day society, of course they hide behind these accounts as well, but they're not dumb enough. They don't have the time to make a fake account to go and leave a monkey emoji on someone's face. That's not the racist we worry about. The most dangerous racist we worry about is the gaslighter. The most dangerous racist we worry about is the one that has come to this understanding of European culture, that has been communicated that you Negro know your position and I know my position. And he assists European society in keeping you in that box. And here is a brilliant example of that. When they said, why have you gone and brought up the past? Why you got to stir this up again? Surely that just happened. We won. Stir this up again. Oh, new advances have been made on Madeleine McCain's whereabouts. Why have you got to stir this up again? Stir this up again. Imagine saying that. New advances. We have just found some DNA that maybe we found a trace. Why are they stirring this up again? How silly does that sound? This is an open case. How about that? This is an open case that we are trying to actually rectify the ghost of colonization. The value status that has been placed, that's trickled down from colonization. The minds, the thinking, the prejudice. It is not finished. In fact, we clearly see ourselves getting better by the year. Do we not? I can admit that. I'm not saying we're near where we should be. I'm saying we get better. I can admit that. I can admit that we've become a way better player. I can admit that the sun could do whatever they wanted to do. The mirror could do whatever they wanted to do. And now I'm actually so proud of, white people in a way. Dare I say it? I'm proud of them. I'm proud in this last while that what they did with the mirror. They said mirror after the Iceland defeat again when Saka came on for 25 minutes, and then when so-and-so. I just felt like that was one of the moments that, we always wait for the big moment. Like, whoa, we're going to wait for someone to say the N-word and then call it disgusting. Yeah, a baby could identify racism and call it disgusting. Wow, aren't you doing the Lord's work? It's that one where you know you have to pull someone and say, listen, I know you think you could get away with that one. I know you think you can be sly. I know we usually give races the benefit of the doubt. I know you did that knowing we would give you the benefit of the doubt, but we're going to pull you up on the scruff of your neck because we're setting high standards. The same way if we get into a place, and the Irish are trying to say it nowadays, if they see someone who's looking at a child funny, they're not going to wait for you to snatch the child and do whatever you think you're going to do to the child. They're taking you 10 steps back and saying, we seen that funny eye you were given to that child, even though they're being completely false and setting complete rumors up about foreigners and being child molesters or all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. It is just convenient that all of a sudden the rates for child abuse has gone up in Ireland. This is the the work of Elon Musk and his new his new role in X, and just how the far right have taken over that platform, and it seems that like that's all we're seeing nowadays. But it's a good analogy, nevertheless, of like when do we get to this place of having a seriousness about the matters? We're not waiting for you to we're waiting for an N word. No, we're pulling you up by the scruff of your neck and say we have a high no tolerance thing for this. And this proves this when we are watching Rio make a very valid statement. It's the first tournament since the last one. You forgot about it. And like Rio knows that this is not a moment in time. This is a reality that happens on and off the pitch. The pitch moment is just a way for us to use this moment of everyone's attention to really dive into this, because no one wants to talk about it otherwise. Otherwise, you scroll by. Otherwise, it's not your problem. Otherwise, you've got better things to do. Otherwise, you live in your privilege, something that you don't have to worry about. But there's people in NHS going through what Saka goes through all the time. You save the patient, you win. The patient wasn't able to be saved, your life would be in jeopardy. You save the patient, you're doing well. Patient makes up a lie about how you did something you didn't do, now your passport is being revoked. We live with these insecurities. And what I think Rio understands, that this statement is more than football. This situation is to be dealt with. And thank God I've got all your ears to listen and deal with this now. Let's remember, let's look at this, let's take this in, let's focus on this. Oh, but the European man is so conditioned to a Negro that accepts his level and posture of servitude. Listen, beggars cannot be choosers. Isn't that the way? Like, look, we've allowed you. I think I even opened a message from somebody here quite recently. I know that he's a racist idiot. I'm not going to get into the racist idiot. I know. He's a racist idiot. But I just want to read out the message, because although he's this guy who he's some crazy dude who always messages me. Although he's a bit, crazy, sometimes it's good to get into his mind a little bit, because I can't even get into the messages now. Oh, okay, whatever. But basically, brothers and sisters, what happened was, he said to me, "You should be grateful. You should be grateful you're here. You can play for us European teams. You should, and I'll tell you, he's Irish actually as well. So he's even standing for his cousin Europeans over in the UK. You should be grateful you get to play for UK. You're always complaining. That's it. So when you're saying to us, oh, why are you stirring it up? Listen, you have your little moment now. And one comment, and I'm going to put this up comment on the screen because this comment made me lose it, brothers and sisters. One comment said, I never noticed color. One of the comments left on Rio's thing, I never noticed that they were black. And then someone said, yeah, but if they had missed, you would be noticing. And what did she say? But they didn't. Oh, wow. Just like that. Meaning, just keep on scoring and we won't have to have that other conversation. Just keep on scoring. I can't make any promises. But they didn't. You're right, and it's terrible, but they didn't. So you're lucky. Flick of a coin. Heads or tails? Heads or tails? Not British. British, not Irish. Flip of a coin. Might get lucky today. Play the lotto. See how it goes. Might get your respect today. See how it goes. But look, serve. That's the position they want you to do. Serve. You're here to serve. Your honor is to serve. Your blessing is to serve. Respect is a different topic. It's like, it's kind of like the Andrew Tate movement where it's like, we are the prize. The mere presence of a man is a prize. I know women, you hating that movement at the moment. The mere presence of a man is a prize. Meaning, if I do something that a man should do, like maybe be loyal, if I, do anything else on extra that really is my duty, or, you're even blessed. So just be happy you have, and even men with women as well, be happy you have a girlfriend. If I do something on top of that, then that's just a little treat for you. But my mere presence in your life, that you can have a girlfriend or you can have a boyfriend, is the prize within itself. And that's what I feel Europe has. The mere reason I allow you to live amongst me and have the privilege of playing for my country ahead of some white boys who tried to play, that in itself is something you should be so appreciative of, that when these blotches come in, what do you have to complain about? How dare you complain and want to fix blemishes within our society? You should be so focused on that little, I gave this analogy in my last video, I'll put up on the screen, this little flower bed, this little bit of privilege we gave you. Why? Because you know why? Because you came from chains. You came from being in whips and chains. And now you can put on the 3 Lions jersey and represent us. And now you want to complain, Rio, about what standard we should have? Or you want to have an uneasiness, an unrest, to want to persevere. You want to push towards a standard. You don't want to let things go or let things die. You're hell bent on having a higher standard, and you don't want us to be caught in these false emotions of being elated with this semi-final, arrival. You don't want it to be us to be in this la la land because of a goal when it's so easily could have been the other way around. You want us to address the fact that it shouldn't be so easily the other way around. You want to address the fact that there are people, not just on the England team, but in day-to-day life, whose vulnerability of, identity is so vulnerable. The country they grew up in and lived in, that people can ask them or where you're really from or disassociate them from being British, or being where they grew up, where they've served, where their parents have served, where they've given all they can, they've paid taxes, they've been good to the society. It's all they knew, it's all they can identify with. And they go in, and not just by losers, not just by people on Instagram, not just by scumbags, but by people, sometimes even their bosses, people who own corporate people who are well-to-do people. People who they thought, they went into a room thinking, I have to respect this person, and this person looks at them like below because they are not quite a Phil Foden in the skin tone. So then it means they're a second-class citizen. And you can feel that. And with that being said, I want to quickly play an amazing video from Daniel, I'm trying to remember, pronounce his name properly, but the actor who did Get Out. Daniel Kaluuya and Marcus Rashford, and they did an interview regarding the last Euros and discussing whether or not they felt it would have been the same reaction had there been some white boys. And Marcus was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, something old Harrison would have done. I think Marcus will grow and he'll remember, and he'll grow one day. But Daniel, being a little bit of an older brother, was able to say, nah, we've given the benefit of the doubt for way too long, and we need to send a better message. Let's check this out.
It happens, but they just want you to win, like. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, it's toxic, my guy.
Yeah, it is toxic.
No, that's like.
Yeah, but I felt for you, man. Like,
I felt for you too. Because it's just sitting there, you're like, And that's why you get conflicted with supporting England. It just reminds you of being a kid in England. It reminds you all them times where you're out, everyone, and then someone says something. So you're black, or someone said, or someone's parents said something. Like, usually what fucks you up is adults say something to you as a 4-year-old, as a 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And then it reminds you of that when you're trying to get closer to the identity of being English, and then that happens. Like, oh yeah, there's this gap. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, because, like you said, there's feelings, like people are pissed off and this is that and the other, but you instantly go there. So why'd you go there? That means it's just there waiting. It was just that kind of, it was a jolt of a reminder of like, oh yeah, this country. It's why I was never comfortable in a pub like that.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? As a kid or when I'm young, it's like why I can't go certain places. Like, it was that. What happened with you lot, that's what it was.
You still feel that way after even winning an Oscar? You don't feel that's put you in rare air, a different space? You still have that same?
Bro. Nah, bro. Like, if I believed in that, that's when I'm in trouble, I feel. Because it's like, then you think that it's disappeared. You believe what this is going to exchange. Like, it's not nothing to do with what we've achieved.
Right.
It's like, it's nothing to do with, like, the reason why they're doing it is nothing to do, because we've underachieved. It's like, the reason why I did it, because they've got something wrong with them. Police stopped me there. They don't know I got an Oscar. That's I'm carrying it out the window. I'm saying like, you know, riding around like, yes, my guy. Like, so it's something wrong here. When you say, you know that saying, you got to be twice as good to get half as much or whatever. And I always didn't like that saying. Because I was just like, it's that thing that you said, it puts the white point of view in the center of your lifestyle. So I said, I just want to be twice as good because I want to be twice as good. That's what I want. I like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I like excellence. I aspire for it, like going for it. It's not something that you're gifted. It's something that you have to work for, I feel.
I really love that. And to wrap this episode up really quickly, I just want you to understand that there is this communication that's happened with the African and the European. And there's this current, I want to say, what can I say? I could say tone, I could say temperature, I could say, theme of the dynamic between the African and the African and the European. And it only works. The relationship that we have currently with the Europeans only works when the African knows his place. So we have created peace in this dynamic, which is limited. It's very limited. And if you ask me, Black people are massively, versatile. To be able to shape our self-worth or self-respect and compromise it a lot of the time in order for us to have a good relationship. Ladies that keep, what up, what's up, you've been in a relationship, you don't compromise your self-respect to keep this man. Ladies sometimes have a better emotional intelligence than men, so sometimes I'm gonna holler at the ladies and ask them for their 1-2 take on this. You know what it is. And Black people, we do that here in Europe. We have a major compromise of okay, I'm not gonna check his phone. I don't want him to. I know there's something in there, but I'm just not gonna look, because that's not my business. I'm not ready for a fight. Let me just focus on this movie we watching and have a good time tonight. I can tell what he just told me where he was yesterday was a lie. But I'm just going to take the lie because I just want to enjoy this little bit of love I have tonight. I don't want him to be pissed off because I know he's very good at manipulating his emotions. And if I out him on something I know that's not true, if I catch him out, what he's going to do is he's going to manipulate his love and he's going to withdraw his love from me. And that hurts even more, right? So I'm just going to pretend like I didn't see. I'm going to pretend like I believe that fake ass answer that, I had to go from here to here and that's why I left the phone there. And I'm going to pretend like that actually made sense to me because I just want peace tonight. So we find ourselves doing this as black people, where I look, that energy was off, or I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he talks like that to other black students as well. Maybe the teacher talks like that to other black students. Maybe the boss also has these interactions, but I haven't seen him have this disrespect. But I can feel the undertone, but I'm just going to let it go. And we have given him leeway to a place now when Rio makes a post to talk about a simple fact. Have you lost your mind, Rio? We don't give black people the time of day to discuss the issues. Why? Because that would mean us compromising our comfort. And we never signed up for that when they came here. Let them lavish and be grateful for the fact that they are no longer in chains. Doesn't matter about the level of respect that lives within the society. Doesn't matter. They don't need to dig deep and to unpack. And is he really worth that much, the Negro? That's not what our forefathers told us. That's not what the energy that's been passed down from generation to generation has told us, that they're worth that much. So why are you trying to behave as if they are? That's not even how the Negro himself behaves. He's accepted his status. All you need to do is just bribe him with a good time. Show him that you're willing to at least fake a good energy with him. Whether or not it comes from and rooted in real respect doesn't bother the Negro, actually, at this point. We've realized it doesn't bother him. This false sense of connection and acceptance is just about enough for him, actually. He celebrates in it. He parades it, actually. So, brothers and sisters, I leave you with this question. When we see moments like this, where Rio makes and points out a simple fact, are we going to begin to understand, or when will we understand, that we are not waiting for the N-word? We need to begin to see the hearts of these people when they are upset at a mere simple fact, at the fact that they have to discuss that. When are we going to understand that this is an indication that we are in a very, very, very bad place, where something as simple as this, something as plain and simple as this, it's difficult for people to have a conversation. And I'm not talking about the simple as like N-word. Doesn't take a baby to say that was bad. Doesn't take a genius to say it. I mean the nuanced. Simple on a nuanced basis. You know, those like in a relationship, like there's nuances in a relationship. This is basic 101. Okay, you've got over the fact that no one should be cheating in a relationship. Like, okay, whatever. But the nuances of respect. And when are we going to allow ourselves to understand if these simple conversations are difficult for people to have? Then why are we allowing ourselves to be bought at that price? That when are we going to understand that I think we're doing something wrong? That they are even wrong, like a spoiled child that even is upset that you've asked them to pick up their clothes from the floor. I think the parent has to come to a place where they say to themselves, and I've seen a video quite recently that said a parent that was kind of like grew up and said, I think I did too much for my child. I think I spoiled them because I grew up not having a lot of money, and I wanted my child to feel like I could get them everything when they wanted, and now I can see that they're not seeing the value of money. They're not seeing, and it feels like that like. It comes to a place where a parent can say, wow, I just told you no, and it's like this. I just told you a simple fact, and you kicking up uproar like this. Like I always say, I think it took for me to step on the outside and see how our African-American brothers are doing. Don't be fooled by what you see on the news. Don't be fooled by the fact that you just see a shooting or everything on the news and think America is a crazy racialized place. Under all that, there's some really, really good allies, actually. There are some really awesome allies. Allies that will wipe the floor with British or Irish allies. Allies that would wipe the floor with your so-called ally here in Ireland or Britain. the one you go to the pub with, the one you have a great time. Wipe the floor. Wipe the floor. Wipe the floor. Wouldn't even call that an ally. Your one is you a slave still. If I do my calculations and my understanding, it's still a slave relationship. Just a more positive slave relationship. It's not one that is happened on a very balanced foundation where you have the right to throw your weight around and know that my opinion their opinion of me does not hang on simple facts, on very fickle facts. It just shows. When are we going to understand that this is a clear indication, brothers and sisters, that we need to be doing better here? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
And I'm on a mission for you.